head to the back so y'all can see me. My hat to the back so y'all can see me. Y'all don't know what, if you don't know what soliloquy is, I know the meaning of it. If I don't pronounce it right, well, it is what it is. That's just my accent, right? I got an accent. I got I guess, a Bay Area / I've been told I have a Bay Area / New York accent. I don't know why, but I've been told that on some occasions. Oh man, what's going on with me? But anyway, man, if you don't know what soliloquy means, you should look it up. But a brief explanation is basically you're speaking your thoughts out loud. Whatever's in your, we all think. Very rarely does any human being just have like a blank mind. Even when you try to achieve having a blank mind, you don't ever have a blank mind. Even like things like this, right? They call it, what's the term for it? Self-awareness, or like basically whatever you're trying to achieve in meditation. You're trying to get your mind as present as possible to where like you're trying to get your mind as calm and like not have all these like thoughts that come through our head, our minds as human beings. But it's very hard to do that because you're going to think about something. Your mind is just going to think. Your mind just thinks, right? So soliloquy is like your thoughts. You're just speaking them out loud. Some people say you're talking to yourself, right? You see people talking to themselves. At one point, at a point, you could say that person has mental issues because they just on the street talking to themselves, right? But sometimes the person just thinking aloud. And so, hi. And so when I'm at work, when I'm driving this truck, oftentimes I'm on the highway. I'm just thinking about stuff, right? Thoughts is just coming through my head. And sometimes I just speak it out loud. Like I just be talking, like thinking about stuff and like giving my theories and my analysis on certain situations, right? So I'm still learning. Thanks, Ma. I can't really see you because I'm driving and I gotta be hands free. But I use open AI. I've been utilizing it a lot, and I be having conversations really right. I have conversations with open AI, and so over the last year, I've input a lot of information into this open AI, and it stores in its memory all this information, all the questions that you've asked it, all the things that you've looked up, everything, like, and it creates a kind of like a profile of you. And so when you ask it certain questions, like, what should I do today, or what should I do with the next 5 life? It'll take all the information that you give it and give you back a plan, right? And so I asked OpenAI today. I said, are you smarter than human beings? And OpenAI said, in most ways, yes. And it also said that right now, human beings are still smarter in terms of creativity, in terms of like, what else? What did it say? Wisdom and stuff like that. But it says that if human beings are not careful, that AI can potentially be wiser than that as well, you know. But it says that in terms of like computing information, like let me just break it down, right? What it said is it basically said, look, all the human knowledge from books, all the books that's ever been written, millions and millions of books, and all the ideas and all the thoughts that's on the internet, OpenAI is able to access all that information, compile all that information, and it has perfect memory. That's what it said. It has perfect memory. We human beings, we don't have perfect memory. We have far from perfect memory. But this OpenAI has perfect memory. It is able to access all this millions and millions and millions upon human information, all millions and millions of books and texts and articles and all this information, whether it's science, whether it's math, whether it's history, and it's able to take this information and give you within whatever you ask it, within a few minutes, a few can sometimes access that millions and millions and millions of human information and give you back an answer based on that. You know, and when you think about that, that's crazy. How can you match that? How can a human being match that? It can't. A human being cannot match that. We go to school, and from elementary all the way up, if we go to university, if we go to graduate school, if we go to doctorate, we get all this information given to us, and we remember about less than a fraction of that. We're not able to access at the drop of a dime all that information that we've been given to us over the years, right? A lot of it, we just forget it, right? And OpenAI does not forget. It has perfect memory. It's able to take all that information that you give it, but also the information that human beings have put into it, and within a second give you back whatever answer you want. And now it's gotten to the point where it's like, when you ask it a question, you can really have a real life conversation with this thing, man. It's crazy. It's like you really it's like you're talking to a human being, and they even put it to where they can give it a voice, a human voice. And you got to think of, and so I'm thinking about this, right? And I'm saying, this country is run and controlled by capitalists. This country is run and controlled by capitalists. I was listening to the news yesterday, and they was basically saying all the people that Trump put in the White House, all his staff and people that work with him in the White House, they're all capitalists. They're all capitalists. What is a capitalist? A capitalist is a person that cares only about profit. A capitalist doesn't care about what's good for humanity. It doesn't care about what's good for the the earth or the planet or whatever. All they care about is how to get profit. And when you think about that this country is run by capitalists, what does that mean in terms of open AI? What does that mean? What does that mean? That means that if they can find a way, and they are, because I just told you how powerful this open AI is. It's extremely powerful. It can do most human tasks with ease, right? So the fact that it can take information and give you back answers just like that, what human being can do that? So these capitalists want to make it to where, and they're there. There won't be a need for most jobs. There won't be a need for most jobs that are now done. I was just thinking about, like, I was in Soliloquy, right? And I was thinking about doctors. Will there be a need for doctors? Look at this open AI. Look at this technology, right? If you can go into a doctor's office, and when you go into the doctor's office, there's just a kiosk. And let's say, whatever you're feeling, right? If you can go into that doctor's office, hey, what's up? I can't really look at the message because I'm driving. But if you can go into that doctor's office and in that kiosk, input into that kiosk everything that you're feeling, right? Let's say you go in there and you, as accurate as possible, I got a headache, right on the left side of my the left side of my head, my temple area. I'm feeling the chills. My knee right here, my right knee is hurting. Like, as accurate as possible. I got a little dizziness. You put all that in that kiosk, and within seconds, the AI is able to diagnose what you have, tell you what test needs to be done, and it even give you a prescription of what medication you need. What do you need a doctor for? What do you need a human being for? Because a human being can't store that information. You go to a doctor's office and you go talk to your doctor, whether it's a general family doctor or whatever, what are they going to tell you? If you have a certain thing, they're going to say, okay, I got to refer you to a specialist, right? Because they may not have the expertise, because that's not their specialty, right? They're just a general practice doctor. So they'll say, I'll refer you to this specialist. And what is a specialist? A specialist is a person that specialized in a certain area of medicine. But picture this, if you will. Now you got this AI that has all that information, like I said, millions and millions and millions of information that is able to access just like that. And there's no need for a specialist, because that is the specialist. It knows everything. It has access to everything. And so capitalists, their goal is to maximize profit. Their goal is maximize profit at all costs. They don't care about what's the best for humanity. All they care about is what's the best to fatten their pockets, to fatten, to add more zeros to their numbers. And that's all. That's their main concern. So if they got this technology and they say, how can we cut costs? How can we cut costs? We can cut costs by getting rid of human labor. By getting rid of human labor, they can cut costs. And so if you got this technology that can do most jobs with ease, office work, it can do that. I already said that the doctors, it can do that. Now picture they're able to take the robots that Elon Musk, the Tesla robots that Elon Musk has created, and then make the robot so lifelike that you wouldn't be able to tell, if they get it to that point, you wouldn't be able to tell it's a human being. They're kind of doing it right now, but you still can tell, right? But let's say they get it to a point where you wouldn't be able to tell it's a human being. Maybe the damn robot is able to get warm, like be warm-blooded as well, right? And then they put this technology, this open AI, this AI technology in that robot, and then put it in the office. How you gonna compete? You can't compete with that, right? I'm driving trucks. Right now, they have not mastered or perfected the technology to replace the drivers with automated driverless trucks, semi trucks. But once they figure that out, this job is done. There won't be a need for a truck driver, because when I asked the open AI, are you smarter than human beings? It says yes. In so many words, it says yes. And it said that if human beings are not careful, we will overtake them in all areas. It said that. I may have programmed the AI tool that I use to be that direct and blunt with me, but it said hey, yes, we are in so many ways smarter. The only thing that we lack is a conscience. The only thing that we lack is a moral conscience. We have no conscience. We have no soul. We make decisions based on we calculate it, and we decide what's best. So if AI says, hey, we feel like the human population has become destructive, we feel like there's a finite amount of natural resources that are available, then AI may decide, well, the best decision that we need to make is we need to start to cull the population. What does cull mean? We need to start killing people, because the AI has no moral, it has no soul, it has no conscience. So it just says, well, that's the best thing to do. Let's start killing them. Whatever methods they choose to do that, they'll do it. But that's the dangerous part about this, and the capitalists don't care. As long as they are good and their immediate circle are good, they don't care. If they have to cull 1 billion people, then they'll be willing to do that. If they allow open AI to do that, they'll be willing to do that. Because all they care about is profit. That's all they care about. And right now, we have capitalists that run this country, but also that run this world. And all they see is dollars and cents and how to fatten their pockets. So it's real dangerous. It's a real dangerous thing, because we know that with these people running the country, all they care about is how to maximize their profit. And they have access to this technology that is able to, in the indefinite future, replace all, I would say 99.9% of jobs in the future can't be replaced by this technology. It can. If you're in LA area, if you're in Phoenix, Arizona, if you're in San Francisco, what do you see now? I recall when they were perfecting that the Waymo car. I recall it was a period, I was in San Francisco, where you would see a human being behind a Waymo car. Why? Because they hadn't yet perfected the technology to where they can just let it be totally autonomous. So it was about 4 years ago, when you seen these Waymo cars driving around San Francisco, you see a human in the driver's seat. But now, if you see a human, no, you don't even see a human in the driver's seat. There's no humans in the driver's seats of those automated cars, those Waymo cars. In LA and San Francisco. So guess what? That was their goal. Hey, if we can get it to where we don't need a human being driving these cars, they've done that. Now it's here. So what's going to happen to the rideshare jobs, right? Uber, Lyft, once they figure out a way to because now it's just a legal issue. The technology is already there. It can already do that. Waymo, it's already picking up people. It's already driving down the street by itself. It's obeying traffic. It's doing all that. Once Uber figures out a way and Lyft to get that tech, I don't know the ins and out, but I'm guaranteeing that all those jobs they won't need them no more. They'll be gone. They'll be gone just like that. They don't care about people. They don't care about, oh, what are we going to do? What's going to happen to these millions of people that are taking care of their family, that are taking care of their bills, that are taking care of health care and all these things with this job, with this gig economy, driving for Uber, driving for Lyft. They don't care about that. All they care is, how can we get more profit for our shareholders? So what they'll do, they're going to replace all of those drivers with automation. That's exactly what's going to happen. That's what they want to do. That's why, I don't ascribe to any party. I'm not a Democrat. I don't ascribe to the Democrat Party. I don't ascribe to the Republican Party. I don't even consider myself an independent. I just think that from a logical point of view, if we care about humanity, if we care about the human race, if we care about, people, just like people being able to take care of their family, to support themselves. A country run by capitalists won't accomplish that. If it's just run strictly by capitalists, that won't be accomplished by these individuals. Because all they care about is profit. Which is why I think a form, and like I said, I don't ascribe to any party. I don't ascribe to any form of government. But when I hear people online talking about, especially non-white people talking about, oh, how bad socialism is, how bad communism is. Do you realize that these capitalists don't care about your black, brown ass? That whatever you feel like you're doing right now, if they can find a way to replace you, they will replace your ass. They will replace your ass. So it's crazy when I hear these individuals online, on social media, certain individuals talking about, yeah, the left wants to turn this into a socialist, communist society. The left wants to do this, the left wants to do that. Like I said, I don't ascribe to no party. I don't ascribe to the left. I don't ascribe to the right. But I do realize that a form of socialism is necessary, especially where the capitalists are trying to take this country. I mean, what's going to happen when the majority of these companies start to automate? there's going to be people that don't have the skills necessary, nor the brain, nor the mindset to transition, to pivot. So what do you do about these people? If you leave it up to the capitalists, Colum, I believe it's a guy. They call him I can't think of his name. But they call, what is his name? Charles Schwab or something like that. And basically he's a globalist, a capitalist, 1,000%. And what his whole thing is that there's millions of useless eaters. That his whole mindset is, if they can cull the planet by millions and millions of people, then that would be good. And when you got people like that running the world, running the country, then they will see those individuals as useless eaters. What basically means they should just be culled and wiped off from the planet because it'll be best for society at whole. So the title of this live was my soliloquy, because often when I'm driving, even in traffic, I get to a point where I think out loud. And all soliloquy means is that you're just thinking out loud. You're talking in a sense to yourself, but out loud. Your thoughts, whatever you're thinking, right? Let's say you're making a plan, and you could be like, oh, or you're recounting something that happened earlier, or you're thinking about a situation. You're just thinking it out loud. You're talking out loud, and that's what I often find myself doing. It's like when I'm thinking about, I was just thinking about this conversation that I had with OpenAI, and how when I closed my laptop and I started to think what it said when I asked the question, is OpenAI smarter than human beings? And it basically said in a lot of ways yes, and it broke down why it's smarter and its strengths compared to human beings. I just said, wow. Like, and as I sat and thought about it, I was like, man, if this is this powerful, and we got capitalists that run this world, and this technology is available to them, then I just feel like we're in trouble. I feel like as a humanity we're in trouble, because these individuals run the world, and all they care about is their immediate family, their circle, themselves. I'm telling you, every job, you if you're watching this on a replay, if you're watching this live, every job, you could think of any job. Cooking, culinary arts. AI can do that. What other job? Service jobs. Any service jobs. AI can do that. If it's working at a gas station, if it's working behind a counter. Look at this. Amazon. Amazon has a store where there is no cashiers, there's no staff in that store. The Amazon grocery store I think it's called Amazon Fresh or whatever, is fully automated. It's fully run by AI. You go in the grocery store, you scan, some type of scanning mechanism lets it know that it's you, that you have an account. It has all your information in there, how you're gonna pay, and you just go in there and you shop, you pick out what you need, and it already knows everything that you got in your cart. And when you leave, you just leave, you bag your stuff. I've never been in one, but you bag your stuff and you get out of there. And you didn't have one human interaction. They want to get it to that. They want capitalists want all grocery stores to be that way. Why? Because all they care about is the money. All they care about is the profit. That's it. They don't care about how these millions of families and people are going to feed themselves, because to them, they're just useless eaters. They're in the way. They want it to where, this is my theory, they want it to where it's just them, the elite, the capitalists, and a majority of everything that is serving them is automated. They control it. They'll have a few human beings, around. They'll keep a few, workers around, just for that human interaction. But the way they want it, it would just be them, their families, and the AI that serves them with a few human beings. That's it. That's the way they want it. Why? Because they will control the AI, they will control the technology. The human beings will have that they allow to still exist will have no choice. They will have no choice. The police force will be automated. I know y'all seen RoboCop. So the police force would be automated. Everything. Any job that you name, they're gardeners, they're nannies. Maybe not their nannies because, hey, maybe not their nannies. So they're gonna need some human beings, right? Because the open AI said they don't have no consciousness, they don't have no moral like a human being, right? So let's say it's a crying baby, a baby that won't stop crying. If you leave that baby in the hands of an AI, the AI may decide the best decision to make this baby start crying is just to eliminate it, So they probably won't get rid of that, but I'd say 90% of the jobs, about 90% of the jobs, they will allow AI to do that, which would mean there will be millions and millions and millions of human beings with nothing to do. With nothing to do. What are they going to do about these people? What are they going to do about us? What is their plan? Are they going to have this social system? Because that's the only way that we'll be able to. That's the only way that we'll be able to exist. That's the only way that we'll be able to exist. It will have to be some type of social system, because we won't have no jobs. The AI will have the jobs, and the AI is efficient. Another thing that the AI said is that, unlike a human being, it doesn't need a break. It doesn't need to eat. It doesn't need to use the restroom. So it can literally work continuously, non-stop. Right? Let me apply that to a truck driver, which I'm currently doing. What do a truck driver need? A truck driver need to sleep. A truck driver need to have restroom breaks. A truck driver need to eat. A truck driver need health insurance. It needs wage, right? It needs all these costs. Cost is a wage. That's the major cost. You have to pay the driver. You have to pay the driver, right? Now, you got a technology that that you can cut the major cost, which is wages, by 80%. By 80%. So the 20% will just be the maintenance of that AI, that technology. That's it. And it doesn't need health care, right? You may need a support staff, mechanic, to fix, certain breakdowns. But hey, if AI can fix itself with robots that know how to, if you go to a car plant, a car factory, they have automated services in a car factory. So there's not human beings building these cars no more. There's robots building the car. So the AI will take care of its own self. So this company can let's say this company that I'm working for, automated semi trucks, and it's able to drive continuously for hours on end. It doesn't need a break. Do you think that if that company can see the profits, the money that it could potentially make, the money that it can save by putting this technology in the semi truck, why do they need us? They don't care. Like I said, these are capitalists. All they care about is the profit. In whatever way they can save the most profit and increase their revenue, they will do it. They will do it. They will do it. So they will put, whether it's, they will automate this truck. It will be able to drive on the highways. It will be able to go to the shippers, dock, unload, dock everything, have the doors open, be loaded, the doors closed, take it to wherever it needs to go, wherever its delivery destination is at. And it can do that without taking a rest, without having to shut down. Do you realize the millions and billions of dollars that it can save? It can make, that company can make, if it had that technology. Do you think they will say, well, you think they really care? They'll say, well, if we implement this technology, wow, we're going to put millions of people out of work. They don't give a damn. Maybe the people that's on lower, closer to the people, but the people in the top, the people in the executive board that's making these $1 million salaries, the CEO, all the execs, they don't care about that. If they cared so much, they reduce their salary and pay the drivers more. But they don't care. So they'll say, if we put this technology down, we can save millions and millions and millions of dollars. They're going to do it. They are going to do it. And no moral high ground is going to stop them. Because all in their mind, as long as they say, well, my family is taken care of, my immediate circle is taken care of, and that's all they care about. Their family, their immediate circle. As long as their immediate circle, and as long as their family is good, they can care less about the people at the bottom, the drivers. Replace those people with automated technology. And let's make millions of dollars. Let's make billions of dollars. And that's going to be across all industries. Like I said, the ultimate goal of these capitalists, if you can have humanoid robots that look so much like humans. They are robots implanted with the brain of OpenAI, ChatGPT, automated intelligence, walking around, able to run, jump, lift, able to manipulate objects like the human hands can. If they can get it to that in the next 5, 10, 15 years, all these jobs that we currently do will be obsolete. Every last one of them. From the doctor's office, even, and that applies to these higher level jobs. I listen to, on YouTube, there's these ads about these the accident ads where they talk about if you've been in an accident. Well, as of recent, I've been hearing this one about if you've been in an accident, there's a lawyer AI technology where you can put the information into the AI about basically the pictures, the accident, all the accident information, and the AI will be able to tell you what your settlement should be. So even these white collar jobs are going to be even the white collar jobs are not safe. The blue collar work is not safe, and the white collar work is not safe, because the AI is going to be able to do all of that. All of that. And the elites, the capitalists, they have no moral high ground. Maybe just for their immediate family, but I think even that comes with limits. Even that itself comes with limits. It is what it is, man. That's my soliloquy for today. And with that being said, I'm out. Peace.